Your ability to navigate the in-game economy of CS2 will win you games. I'm going to spill the details of how the economy works, the 4 different types of buys you should be doing, and some integral tips that you need to be using towards the end of this video. Let's start with how you get money and how much money you get. Each team starts with $800 Roonies on pistol round. If you win a round, you get $3,250. You can make even more money on top of that by winning the round with the bomb exploding as a T or by defusing the bomb as a CT. Both of these scenarios grants you an extra $250, which brings your total for winning the round to $3,500. As a terrorist, if your team plants the bomb before time expires, your whole team gets $800. Now let's talk about how you can earn money regardless of if you win the round or if you lose the round. Kill rewards are a really important aspect of the economy. Getting kills with different weapons will earn you varying amounts of money. Now the key things to know here are that getting kills with rifles such as the AK or either of the M4s will get you $300 per kill. All pistols aside from the CZ for some reason will give you $300 as well. All SMGs aside from the P90 will give you $600. Shotguns are big money makers and will give you $900 per kill, and the AWP will only grant you $100 per kill. Oh, and if you're feeling a bit silly, a knife kill gives you $1,500 and a Zeus kill gives you nada. The CT player who defuses the bomb gets an extra $300 and the T player who plants the bomb also gets an extra $300. Okay, now it's time to cover maybe the most confusing part of the economy, loss bonus. As you lose consecutive rounds in a row, you will earn more and more loss bonus. A weird detail here is that both teams start the match as if they've lost the previous round, meaning that the team that loses pistol round will earn $1,900 for the following round. Now I wouldn't worry too much about memorizing these values. You can check them if you press tab and look at the scoreboard. You can check them by hovering your crosshair over these little dashes that indicate your loss bonus. That'll tell you how much money you'll earn in the next round if you lose the current round. Now to complicate things even more so, if a team has lost multiple rounds in a row and then they win a round, their loss bonus isn't completely wiped out. So let's say a team has lost 4 rounds in a row and then they win the next round. And then after they win that round, they lose again. They will earn $2,400 in loss bonus. So if a team builds up loss bonus over consecutive rounds of losing, and then they start winning rounds, their loss bonus will move down a notch for each round they win. Now I'm going to assume you generally know how much everything costs. There's no point in me sitting here and just rattling off the prices of everything in the game. It's very important, but it's also pretty easy to pick up on once you've played the game enough. Some numbers that are important is that on T side, you need $4,700 to get Kevlar, head armor, an AK, and a full set of utility. On CT side, if you're running with the A1S, this bumps up to $4,900, and if you're running with the A4, this goes all the way to $5,100. Now within these buys, I've included 2 flashes, a smoke, and a grenade. But lots of times you're really going to want to prioritize having a molly. Mollies are super important, especially on CT side. Well, especially on T, they're super important on both sides. So these prices are going to fluctuate based on what util you want to buy, based on the rifle you prefer. These aren't like perfectly set numbers all the time. And that's my way of segueing into the next section, the 4 types of buys. In Counter-Strike, you need to be strategic in how you spend your money. There are 4 general strategies in how you should spend your money on any given round. There's a full buy, a light buy, this is also known as a half buy, a full save, and a force. Now for each of these, I'm going to tell you what it is, when you should do it, why you should do it, and some general tips to go along with it. A full buy is where you buy as much as possible to maximize your chances of winning the next round, within reason. One good rule is that you should always full buy after you win a round. Kevlar, head armor, an SMG, a rifle, an AWP, a full set of utility, whatever you can get that's going to allow you to have the best chance of winning the next round is what you should buy. Sometimes on full buys, you're not going to have enough money to buy everything, to buy a full set of util, to buy head armor, to buy a kit. This is where you're going to need to make some strategic decisions on what to forego. On CT, if you're confident that the Ts are going to have AKs and ops only, then you can skip buying head armor, because with those weapons, if you get shot in the head, you're gonna just die anyways. You should also be purposeful about which pieces of utility you buy and whether you should buy a kit or not. I would say as a general rule, if you have enough money to buy a kit after you've bought utility, buy a kit. Don't be a loser. You know the rest. In terms of utility, I would argue that smokes have the best cost to value ratio of any other piece of utility. So I would prioritize buying smokes and then buying other pieces of util. It's really important to be purposeful about the utility you buy. Go into rounds with a plan and buy utility based on what you're doing or based on the position that you're playing. One of the biggest economy mistakes I see amongst newer players is that they don't full buy on full buy rounds. A lot of people will go into a full buy without util, or maybe they'll just buy like a couple of flashes. The point of a full buy round is to maximize your team's ability to win that round. That's the whole point of the game, right? It's winning rounds. So on full buys, you are committing to winning that round. And so that means that you should buy those extra pieces of util. If you have the money, you should buy as much util as you can, because those pieces of util can be the difference maker in that round. A light buy is when your team wants to save for full buy the following round, but you have some extra cash to spend. Let's say you have $3,000 and your team has lost 3 rounds in a row. This means that if you lose the next round, you're gonna earn $2,900 from the loss bonus. So if you don't buy anything, you'll have $5,900 to play with in the next round for your full buy. Now this is more than enough money to full buy on T side and CT side, so you have some excess cash to work with. So depending on which side I am and what I want to do the next round, my light buy here is going to fluctuate. For example, if I want to op the next round, then I'm not going to buy anything so that I can afford an op and full armor. On T side, I could light buy a bit more than I could on CT side, because a full buy is a bit cheaper on T side than it is on CT side. So on T side here, I would opt for maybe a Tech 9 and armor, costing me $1,150. This would bring me to $4,750 for the next round if I were not to get any kills. On CT side, I would probably opt for just a deagle here, bringing me to $5,200 the next round, which is a good amount of money to full buy. Now I get that this might feel a little annoyingly mathy right now, but I promise you, as you play more, you just get this kind of inherent sense of what you can get away with on light buys. But a good general rule of thumb is to try not to buy below $2,000, and also check your loss bonus. Just make sure you know how much money you're going to get in the following round if you lose the current round. A full save is what it sounds like. This is for when you have around $2,000, and not spending anything allows you to buy the next round in a full buy. The majority of the time, your whole team won't be all on a full save. A lot of people will be on light buys, some people will be on full saves, maybe one person is a cash cow and they can drop pistols to other people. It can be a mix. So all of these types of buys aren't exclusive from each other within a team. Forcing describes a situation in which your team does not have enough money to pull off a full buy, but your team should still, given the circumstances, force a buy. This can often be best to do when your opponent has a poor economy, so then if you force a buy, you're not going to be completely outgunned. You have a good chance to win the round, and then you could flip the economy on them if you win that round on a force buy. Another situation in which you should force buy is when you're on what's called a double eco. This is where you or someone on your team or multiple people on your team, if you guys saved, you wouldn't have enough money to full buy in the next round. So instead of saving and then trying to get away with this kind of shitty buy, you force that first round and then you save if you lose, and then you full buy on the following round as your loss bonus has built up. To check if you're on a double eco and you should force, and again, this is pretty general, look at the money you and your teammates have, check the loss bonus you're going to receive in the next round, and if what you have plus the loss bonus is going to give you a really bad buy or your teammates a really bad buy in the following round, it's oftentimes a good idea to force that. Now, as I said previously, not everybody is going to be on the exact same type of buy as each other on your team. This makes it super important, super important to communicate with your team before a round starts on what type of buy you guys are going to do. Sometimes this is going to be really obvious, like if you win pistol round, then you're obviously going to full buy, but sometimes this can get kind of tricky and you have to do some strategic thinking and decide what's going to be best for our ability to win this game. If one person has a lot of money and everybody else is on a save, then that person should spread the wealth wealth and drop some pistols for their team, you know, your likelihood of winning that round is increased because everybody has an upgraded pistol, but you still have a full buy going into the next round because everybody's saving their money, except the guy who's the bank, right? He's dropping pistols, but he just has to stay above that 2,000, 2,500 mark so that he can full buy into the next round as well. It's also really good to drop players' weapons, even if they don't necessarily need a drop. So if you win a round, but your teammate dies, you jump into the next round and you have a good amount of excess cash. You have enough to buy a rifle. You should drop your teammate who died a rifle so that they can full buy a kit, they can full buy util. That mindset of a full buy being a full focus on winning that round, trying your best to buy everything, to do everything you can with your economy to win that round, goes for your teammates as well. The economy is a team-based issue. It's not a personal thing. You need to be able to share in order to maximize your chances of winning games. Now, CS2 has introduced refunding, which is awesome because now when my teammate immediately forces at the beginning of the round, I can maybe talk them out of it. So it's a really good thing to have discussions with your teammates, especially if they immediately buy and you think your team should save. Say, hey, you should probably refund that, let's save, and then we can buy together on the next round. If your team is making some pretty poor decisions and forcing on pretty random rounds, I still think it's best to force around your teammates. You want to be on the same economy, on the same page as your team. So if your team is just randomly forcing on a certain given round, just force with them. You know, you can say like, hey, we should save here, and if they don't do that, then you should force with them. But then after that round, you should say, hey, we should stop forcing, save one, and then like build our economy so that we can win this game. Lots of times, especially if you're in a loss streak and you're getting that higher level of loss bonus, a team will lose some motivation and they'll start forcing every single round. And it'll save games if you jump in there and say, hey, let's just light buy this round and then have a good full buy for the following round. When I started playing CSGO, I was always very confused about the idea of armor and when I should rebuy armor. Why do I need to rebuy armor? And so here's a really quick explanation on when you should rebuy armor and why. So the usefulness of armor doesn't run out until that number hits 0. But what's important is that you don't want your armor to go under 0 during a round, or else it's gonna be like you don't have armor at all. It's pretty difficult to lose more than 50 points of armor in any given round, so at or below 50 is a pretty decent number to shoot for. On T-side pistol rounds, it's really important that you get that bomb plant, because getting the bomb plant allows you to force the second round even if you lose pistol round, because the game starts giving you one notch into the loss bonus. So if you lose pistol round, you get $1,900. So as a T, if you plant the bomb during the round, then you're gonna have at least $2,700 to work with in the second round, and this can be a pretty decent buy, especially if you're able to get kills during pistol round. If you get 2 kills on top of that bomb plant, then you're looking at $3,300, which is like a Galil, full armor, and then a couple flashes, or a flash and a smoke, and that's a good buy, especially against a CT buy with, well, they'll earn $3,250, and if you plant bomb, then they'll probably have $3,500, but they can't do much with that, right? They can buy like a FAMAS and armor and such, or maybe an MP9, and the Galil being better than a FAMAS in my opinion and better than SMGs, it's a good buy and you can win that round a lot. So if you're a T and you plant bomb on pistol and you lose the round, you should force that second round, because you're gonna really screw up the CT's economy if you win that round. Now as a CT, it's generally best just to full save after that first pistol round. A lot of people like to buy like pistols and grenades and stuff in that second round just to try to get some kills, but I generally think it's best just to go USPs, full save, and then win that third round with M4s.